Imagine this, it is February 9, 1969. A massive silhouette rises above the runway, its 4 engines humming with raw power. This is no ordinary airplane. This is the first Boeing 747. On that chilly Washington morning, a new chapter in aviation is born. One that will rewrite what humanity believes is possible in the sky. The world watches as this giant lifts into the air, carrying not just steel and fuel, but a bold promise that the age of jumbo travel has arrived. From that moment, airlines, engineers, and travelers would never look up at the sky the same way again. Chapter 1: A vision bigger than a plane. In the early 1960s, the jet age was flourishing. The Boeing 707 and Douglas DC-8 had transformed intercontinental travel. But airlines faced a looming problem: the cost per passenger remained high, and airports were growing congested. Pan American's president, Juan Trippe, envisioned a future with a plane twice the size of the 707. He demanded a new design that could cut seat cost by 30% and accommodate surging demand for long-haul travel. Boeing made a daring bet. They assigned Joe Sutter, then leading the 737 program, to lead this ambitious project. Sutter and his team began listening, gathering airline needs, early concepts, and sketches. They foresaw that supersonic jets might one day dominate long-range air travel, so they designed the new aircraft to be convertible to freighter use. Even if passenger demand waned, its underside could become a money-making cargo machine. From concept to contract, things moved fast. In April 1966, Pan Am placed an order for 25 Boeing 747-100s, marking the formal birth of the jumbo jet era. Chapter 2: Building the blueprint. Designing what would become the largest commercial airplane ever built meant confronting problems no one had faced before. The original idea was a full double-deck fuselage, a concept too complex for emergency evacuation and cargo conversion. The team pivoted to a bold new shape, a wide fuselage with a raised cockpit above the main deck. That iconic hump allowed a nose door for cargo loading. That hump also created the upper deck, first imagined as a lounge, later adapted for extra seating. Early models had a small lounge behind the flight deck. Over time, that space became part of a continuous upper deck. One of the central breakthroughs was the engine. To power such a huge plane, Boeing and Pan Am partnered with Pratt & Whitney to develop the JT9D, a high, bypass turbofan engine that could deliver double the thrust of older designs with far better fuel efficiency. Engineering also embraced rigorous safety measures. Boeing employed fault tree analysis, a method to assess what could go wrong if each component failed, and ensured multiple redundancies in flight systems, hydraulics, and controls. The structural demands meant calculating stresses across a hitherto unseen scale. To assemble such a giant, Boeing needed a factory unrivaled in scale. They purchased 780 acres in Everett, Washington, near Payne Field. The plant was still under construction while the 747's full-scale mock-ups were already placed inside. It would become the largest building by volume in the world. Chapter 3: The first flight and early challenges. On September 30, 1968, the first 747 registration NC 470, later named City of Everett, rolled out of the Everett plant. The prototype took to the skies for the first time on February 9, 1969, piloted by NASA and Boeing test crews. Flight tests brought surprising challenges. Wing flutter, oscillating wing motions at high speeds, threatened the design stability. In some cases, Boeing had to add depleted uranium counterweights to outboard engine nacelles to dampen vibrations. Turbine casing distortion and engine stalls were also issues in the new JT9D engines. Perhaps most dramatic were the evacuation trials. Boeing recruited hundreds of volunteers to exit from a full mock-up using emergency slides. The upper deck proved especially tricky. Some participants used a harness reel to escape. The first attempt took 2.5 minutes, far beyond the FAA's 90-second rule, and many were injured. Subsequent trials improved performance, though the upper deck evacuation remained a challenge. Despite the hurdles, certification succeeded by December 1969. On January 22, 1970, Pan Am's Clipper Victor carried the first passengers on the New York-London route, officially introducing the jumbo jet to the world. Chapter 4: Variants, Innovation, and Expansion. The 747 family evolved rapidly over time as Boeing pushed its envelope. And 747-200, the original 747-100, had a range of about 460 nautical miles. Soon Boeing released an upgraded version, the 747-200, with more powerful engines and higher takeoff weight. 747 SP is special performance. To serve ultra-long routes, Boeing developed the SP variant. It was shorter than the standard model, lighter, and capable of flying over 10,000 kilometers. Airlines like Pan Am and Iran Air used it for nonstop flights from New York to Tehran and to other Middle Eastern cities. 747-300 introduced in 1983. The 747-300 extended the upper deck further aft, allowing more seating capacity. 747-400 in 1989, Boeing launched the 747-400 and improved engines, glass cockpit, crew operation, and more range. It became the most widely used version. 747-8 announced in 2005, the 747-8 combined new wing design, improved materials, and engines derived from the 787. Its fuselage was lengthened, giving it better economics and quieter operation. The freighter variant 747-8F carries more payload and retains the nose door cargo load. In other proposed variants like 747X, 747-500X, and 747-600X were studied but eventually shelved due to cost and limited demand. Chapter 50: Changing Skies, Cargo, and Legacy. In its prime, the 747 was symbolic of global air travel. It carried more passengers farther, made distant cities linked by flights that once seemed impossible. It became known affectionately as the Queen of the Skies. Yet over time, airlines shifted preference to twin-engine widebodies that were more fuel-efficient and economical. Operating a four-engine jet became harder to justify except for cargo routes. By the 2000s, passenger versions of the 747 began to be retired. Its role gradually became freight, special missions, or presidential transport such as Air Force One. On December 6, 2022, the final 747-280F rolled off Boeing's assembly line. That last plane was delivered to Atlas Air early in 2023. It marked the end of a 54-year production run and sealed the legacy of the jumbo era. Still, the 747 continues to fly, especially in cargo service, and lives in museums, in film, and in the hearts of aviation fans. Its influence molds modern designs, its daring attitude reminding engineers to push the limits. Chapter 60: The Blueprint That Shaped Aviation. The story of the Boeing 747 is not just the story of a plane. It is a blueprint for innovation, risk, and ambition. It proved that air travel could be scaled, that economies of size mattered, and that bold engineering could reshape industries. Its design choices: the raised cockpit, nose, door conversion for cargo, redundant systems, and flexibility for future variants, gave it adaptability. Even when passenger demand waned, the 747 could pivot to freight or special use. That flexibility was baked into its blueprint from day one. The 747 influenced everything that came after. Long-range twins adopted efficient engines, composite materials, and digital controls. But the basic ideas of wide-body twin aisle travel owe much to lessons learned from the jumbo. In the golden years, no airport was complete without a 747 gate, no fleet considered world routes without its presence, its image in film and culture. From disaster movies to state visits, cemented its iconic status, and perhaps most importantly, it opened doors, literally and metaphorically, for more people to fly farther, to unite continents, and to connect hearts separated by oceans. Chapter 7: Hey, challenges decline, an end of an era. Nothing lasts forever. The economics shifted, fuel costs rose. Twin-engine widebodies outclassed four-engine giants on efficiency. Airlines sought smaller, more flexible aircraft rather than mass carriers that needed to be nearly full to be profitable. Maintaining engines, systems, and airframe wear on a 747 became more expensive. Many airlines phased them out from passenger service. But cargo airlines with high demand and heavier payloads found new life for the design. Boeing itself acknowledged diminishing demand. In 2016, it announced plans to end 747 production. By late 2020, the decision was firm. Production would end as soon as backlog orders cleared. On January 31, 2023, Boeing delivered the last 747, closing the chapter on one of aviation's most remarkable sagas. Even in retirement, the 747's presence looms. It is studied in aerospace courses, remains a beloved icon, and continues to inspire the dreamers who look at the sky and ask what next. If you've enjoyed soaring through the blueprint and legacy of the Boeing 747, the jumbo that changed aviation, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell so you never miss our future journeys into the sky. Share this video with your friends who love airplanes. Comment below with your favorite 747 story or memory, and together, we'll keep the spirit of the Queen of the Skies alive.